What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the Scale News Update. If you're not familiar with the show, this is where we talk about the news topics that happened in the scale world of RC over the past week. Almost forgot how to say that. If you enjoy the Scale News Update, hit the like button, and let's jump into this week's topics. First for this week, Castle Creations has released a new ESC. This is the Cobra 8. Now, this is a large ESC, maybe not one that you would typically use in just any crawler, but if you have one that needs, real high demand power, like a Ultra 4 rig or something like that, maybe this would be a choice for you. But why this is interesting is that this is Castle's very first 32-bit ESC. This is a dual-core 32-bit ESC with a ton of power handling, and that 32-bit, while that may seem familiar or may not seem important, depending on what you're familiar with, we've heard a lot about 32-bit over the last 2-3 years maybe on the Outrunner side of things, specifically AM32 you may have heard of. And that is the little ESCs that are commonly paired with these Outrunner motors in crawlers often to get that super smooth startup without the noise that you've typically heard from Outrunners. This is what helped make those things silent. And now Castle's getting that put into their bigger ESCs. Now, you're not likely going to use this ESC with an Outrunner motor in a crawler. It's just probably a little overkill, fairly large, and more expensive than a lot of the AM32 based controllers are. But some of the same benefits, hopefully, of the smooth power delivery can then also be carried over into other vehicles that aren't just, lightweight rock crawlers and things like that. So it's interesting, and it's nice to see Castle kind of stepping up with the market with these new features and new types of processing that we're seeing these more, open source and boutique ESC brands using. But largely, I feel like this is just exciting just to see that Castle, as one of the larger makers of ESCs like this, are stepping up to the, most up-to-date style of processing software, hardware capable of doing this. As far as I'm aware, a lot of the other big name ESC manufacturers haven't done this yet. And if I'm wrong, I'd love to know about it. So Hemistorm actually posted up a video with a bunch of details on this ESC last week. So if you're interested in seeing a little bit more on that, you can go check out his video. If you're interested in purchasing one of these ESCs, I put a link to it as well as links to all of today's stories in the description below. Next, JConcepts has released 2 more variations of their most popular tires, the Tusks and Megalithics. These are a 1.9 version, but in a 4.19 inch height. So perfect for your class 1 type crawlers. The Tusk is a very popular, it's been around for quite a bit longer than the Megalithic, but you've seen that one. It's kind of styled like, I believe, kind of like a Baja Pro X. It's not licensed, but it still looks pretty good. Comes in their green compound for both of these, which is their best performing compound for most people, at least. Again, both the Tusk and the Megalithic, same size here. Class 1, if you've liked those tires in the past and you're looking for a new class 1 option, then I'm sure that these will do the trick for you. Biddy Designs has posted up that they are finally going to be releasing crawler bodies. This is the first of many, they say, in the crawler body lineup. Now, in the photo that they used for the announcement, you can clearly see that this is a new body design that we haven't seen before. Kind of a Ford Raptor-esque single cab pickup type looking truck. Now it's shown on an independent front and rear suspension truck, so not exactly crawler based there, although it does clearly have Vanquish Riot KMC wheels with the Falcon Wild Peak tires. So they have a crawler nearby, or they at least had the rolling stock from one, but either way, it's going to be exciting to see what they do. Biddy Designs has done some really good looking bodies, so I'm interested to see what they bring to the market for the crawler side. They do have a date that we'll see more information on this. We should see this in the next couple of weeks here on the Scale News Update. Next, DSM Offroad has released a few new products for the Vanquish VRD platform. This will work with both the VRD Carbon and the VRD Stance RTR. The most exciting one being this 3D printed and carbon fiber rear bed option. If you want to run a cab only style body, this gives you that nice narrow comp style rear bed. The border of the bed is the 3D printed, and it's got a nice carbon fiber floor to tie the look all together. And the price is great at $39.99. He also released a mid-mounted battery tray that centers the battery in the rear, above or kind of behind the transmission. So slightly higher than using the slider, but more in the center, in case you want to use the 3D printed sliders that they also have. Specifically also a good pairing with the cab only style body, like the Power Wagon that they show in the photos for the bed. So if you're interested in any of those parts, check out DSM Offroad, which I've got a link to below. Outside the norm of our regular stories, this is the UDI Boats Inkfish. And this is a roughly 1/10 scale jet ski. UDI released two versions of these. One is a brushed for 99 bucks, and they also have a brushless version for about 30 bucks more. A-Main added these at the end of last week, and we ended up ordering some as soon as they hit the website. These are a true jet ski style with an actual impeller, you know, a jet pump, not a prop or anything like that. So a proper jet ski. And right on the box when it showed up, it says fits typical 6 to 7 inch figures. It's got 2 lights in the front of it. It ships with a lithium ion battery. It's ready for 2-cell LiPo though, if you want to swap something out. It does use a pretty small pack, so you have to keep that in mind if you're trying to fit something in there. But pretty cool overall. They're all injection ABS molded, so it's a hard plastic shell throughout. But for the money, I think that these look like a lot of fun, and we'll find out exactly how fun they are very soon. Next, we got a new one from HPI. Now, this is just another release on the Sport 3 chassis. So nothing new there, but the Venom 2 body is new. It's actually a refresh of one of their really old bodies, which was like the T10. I think it was the Venom T10 body. But they've refreshed it, put it on that chassis, and now this is pointed at being a drift or race truck. It actually includes 2 sets of wheels and tires so that you can try and do both with this platform. Now, it is a 4-wheel drive brushed platform. So drifting is going to be, you know, relative to what a normal, you know, someone who's never drifted RC in a more serious way would expect. But it'll get you the slidey feeling of getting your drift on. However, it does include the normal street race type tires, so you can rip around in the street in a more controlled fashion. So trying to do both. It's nothing crazy special, just always kind of rooting for HPI, hoping that they'll pull it back together and be some sort of resemblance of the company that they once were. This one also comes with a 7.2 volt nickel metal pack with a Dean's plug on it. Still shipping some nickel metal packs, moving some weight, but I don't hate the color. I don't hate the color, styling of the body overall. It's not too bad. Let me know below. Are you rooting for HPI as well, or are they're a shadow and they'll never return? To me, I had some new releases at the latest toy fair. First of all, they had the 1/10 scale Ford Baja Bronco. This is the early Bronco styling with the iconic paint job on it. Now this will be placed on the CC02 platform. So they had released the CC02 with the 2021 Bronco on it previously, and now they're coming up with the early Bronco style as well. So if you were only a fan of the OG Broncos, not so much the new ones, there's a placeholder for you. The CC02 is a pretty short, small wheelbase thing, so you're not going to end up using this as a, you know, very serious crawler or much serious off-road either. The CC02 is a quirky little thing, but that's to me, or to Maya, however you want to say it. Then they also released a 1998 Honda NSX Racing Edition version. Pretty clean body. Always like the NSXs. This has got the extra wing on the rear deck. TTO2 underneath. No shocker there. Everyone has had 5 or 10 TTO2s probably at this point if you've been in RC for too long. And lastly, the Super Cloudbuster Black Edition. They released the gray edition. I believe it was last year, I can tell you. We actually talked about the gray edition on episode 213 back in June of 2022. And now, after the wild success of the gray edition, they're releasing the black edition. Pretty much the same Super Cloudbuster, but with a black body and some blacked out bits like the gray one had. So That, you know, they're definitely getting their money's worth out of the Cloudbuster design. But those were the 3 new releases from Tamiya from the Toy Fair that would fit in the scale news best. Next, Charisma has a new release for us, another rally platform. This is the Group B legend, the Audi Quattro Sport S1. And this is on their 1/8 scale rally platform. They released that later last year, and now we've got another option for it. This they label as almost ready to run, as Charisma does, because it doesn't include a battery, so you have to provide that. Therefore, they don't call it ready to run, but it's ready to run as most people consider it in our hobby, at least. On top of this, again, you've got that 80s vintage style rally body, which looks great, especially if you're a fan of the old Group B rally stuff. Charisma has a bunch of photos of this posted, as well as a video already as well. But the body it looks good, the shaping's good. It doesn't have, you know, clear windows or anything like that, so it loses a little bit of dimension in it. And being that it's a, you know, vintage body, it looks a little old or dated already just because of that. It would have been nice if, you know, we would have seen some clear windows or something to be able to, you know, have a little bit more depth in the body, make it look a little bit more up to date. But I think that this one, compared to the Impreza that they originally released, I do like Imprezas as well, but I think this body's got a little bit more potential. So kind of cool on that front. It is 1/8 scale. It does come with a 550 can brushless motor, so it's going to have some power. Should be able to rip around pretty decently, but I'm sure there's already a bunch of reviews available for the Impreza version. Just make sure you're looking at the 1/8 scale and not the 1/10 scale, and you probably have a pretty good idea how this one is going to do at the same time. Last week, TLR, Team Losi Racing, had posted up a notice of some information about the availability of their 1/10 scale race parts, saying that they've had some issues with manufacturing and that there's a shortage of parts and probably cars for their 1/10 scale race platform. They say that they're working to try and rectify this, but evidently it's become something that has been an issue, and they pointed people to go look at local hobby shops, dealers, to try and find parts availability. But it was interesting to see in the comments of that post that a number of hobby shop employees had kind of commented back saying that they've actually had a hard time getting parts for some time, and there's a, you know, compounding issue, you know, maybe one causing the other. So, you know, not that internet comments, especially in random Facebook posts, are necessarily something you can put a ton of weight behind. But if you're interested in going through there and reading some of it, seeing what, you know, some of the general consensus may be, can be worth the read. This Wednesday, 6 p.m. Pacific, 9 p.m. Eastern, come join Matt and I for Livestream Takeover. Last week, we discovered that Matt broke his no Lexan streak, and this week, he's already trying to backpedal and say that no, he didn't. So come argue my point with us this Wednesday. We will win. But that's going to do it for this week's news topics. For this week's question, what was the last time that you tried and enjoyed something new in RC? Whether it was a new brand, a new area, a new scale, a new, you know, ESC type that you've never tried, or a motor system type, whatever it was. What was the last time you tried something new and enjoyed it? Both things. If you didn't enjoy it, doesn't matter. What was the last time new and you enjoyed it? Put your comments below. Love to read your comments every week. My favorite part of the Scale News Update. But with that, as always, thanks for watching the Scale News Update every Tuesday. Hit the like button if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you're not already, and hit the notification bell so you see the videos as soon as they get uploaded. As always, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.